are going to discuss administrative law. Ayan. Okay? So, ito para naman hindi kayo masyadong antukin, ha? Kasi alam nyo, ang apelyido ko sa Bisaya, nakakaantok, eh, no? Hopefully, hindi kayo antukin, ha? Hanggang alas 3 mamaya or before 3 o'clock, tapos na tayo. Sabi na, dapat daw ang lab parang exam. Bakit? Para kahit maraming mali, yung tama pa rin ang binibilang. Ayan, di ba? Lab does not keep records of wrong. And again, as I was saying, no, if you want to listen again to these lectures, pati sa labor, ay nandyan, in-upload natin dyan sa channel na yan, so you can subscribe para mapakinggan ulit ninyo again and again. No? Kasi yung buong labor code, in-upload na natin yung ating lecture dyan sa free bar, so you can subscribe and you can listen to the lectures during your free time. Okay. So remember that we have 3 branches of the government. That's basic, the executive, legislative, and judicial, and they are given specific powers under the Constitution. Okay? So administrative law, according to Dean Roscoe Pound, din siya ng University of Nebraska, that branch of modern law, which the executive department of the government, no? Under the executive department of government, acting in a quasi-legislative or quasi-judicial capacity, interferes with the conduct of the individual for the purpose of promoting the well-being of the community. So under laws regulating public corporations, business affected with public interest, professions, trades and calling, rates and prices. So basically, ito yung lahat ng kapangyarihan ng isang administrative agency, no, that is governed by administrative law. Okay. So administrative agencies, on the other hand, are organs of the government other than a court and other than the legislature, which affect the rights of private parties. So basically, doon sa structure ng ating gobyerno, administrative agencies are under general rule ng executive department. So either how do they affect the rights of private parties? Through adjudication or through rule making. Okay? Yeah. Now, what are the reasons for the existence of administrative agencies? Well, because of the growing complexities of modern life, dahil marami tayong mga complexities right now, di ba? So bakit tayo nagkaroon ng National Privacy Commission? Kasi may mga concerns tayo about data privacy because of the advent of modern technology. Then multiplication of number of subjects needing government regulation. Right? Dati-rati, wala tayong mga cellphone. So ang nire-regulate lamang ng NTC ay yung mga telephone companies at saka itong mga television radio station. Pero ngayon, may cellphone ka na. So kaya ang ginawa natin, i-separate natin yung communication and information technology from the Department of Transportation. Dati-rati, magkasama ang transportation at communication sa isang departamento. And then, increased difficulty of administering laws. Mahirap talagang ipatupad ang batas sa mga taong ayaw sumunod. Okay. Then, how do we determine if a body is an administrative agency? Go on, where its function is primarily regulatory, even if it conducts hearings and determines controversies to carry out its regulatory duty. So, example, Land Transportation, Franchising, and Regulatory Board. That's an administrative agency. So, nagre-regulate siya ng mga franchises ng mga sa transportation, hindi ba? Pero, nagkakandak din siya ng mga hearings kasi pagka may i-file ka diyang kaso, nagkakandak sila ng hearings. Several instances in the past, may mga appearance tayo dyan. So, may mga hearing officer na it functions like a court. So, kaya quasi-judicial ang kanyang function. And then, on its rulemaking authority, it is administrative when it does not have discretion to determine what the law shall be, but merely prescribes details for the enforcement of the law. In other words, implementer siya ng batas at hindi siya interpreter. Kasi ang mag-i-interpret niyan ang korte. Okay? Now, what are the modes of creation of administrative agencies? Ayan, problema tayo. No? The modes of creation of administrative agencies, sandali lang mga kapatid, at babalikan natin ng administrative law. Ayan. Okay? Number one, through the Constitution. So under the Constitution, meron kang Civil Service Commission, meron kang COMELEC, at meron kang Commission on Audit. Ha? At sabi nila, mas madali daw yumaman ng mga accountants kaysa mga abogado eh. Tama ba ito? With all due respect to the accountants, biro lang naman ito. Ay, kasi may ledger daw sila, meron mga columns, debit, credit, upit, puslit. I do not know if that is true. Ha? Okay. Then you also have Commission on Appointment, the Commission on Human Rights, the Judicial and Bar Council, and of course the NEDA. Now, legislative enactment. So the Congress created these administrative agencies. So lahat yan, they were created by law. And executive orders with the authority of law. Like for example, fact-finding agencies. The President created a fact-finding agency or fact-finding body para imbestigahan daw itong mga anomalya sa PhilHealth pala. And then, what are the functions of administrative agencies? Number one, quasi-legislative. They make rules and regulations. Like for example, in the Labor Code, you have Article 5, that the agency created under the Labor Code, particularly the Department of Labor, the NLRC, must create implementing rules and regulations, or rule-making power. Okay. And then, they adjudicate. Take a look at the labor arbiter under the NLRC. So, nag-adjudicate siya ng mga kaso for resolution and determinative power. So, yan ang mga functions ng administrative agencies. Then, meron din silang quasi-legislative or rule-making power. So, the authority delegated by law-making body to the administrative agency to adopt rules and regulation intended to carry out the provisions of the law and implement a legislative policy. That's the quasi-legislative or rule-making power of an administrative agency. But remember that what has been delegated may no longer be delegated. Potestas delegada, delegate, non-delegara, potes. Ayan ang sabi, no? Maraming revision. Now, what are the requisites for valid delegation? Of course, the law must be complete in itself, the completeness test, and the sufficient standards test. In the case of PhilHealth versus Auditor General, for a valid delegation to be present, these two elements must also be complied with. That the law must be complete in itself, and there is a sufficient standard in which the delegate must conform and not to interpret it anymore. Diba? So, implementor lang siya, hindi siya interpreter. Now, and then of course, for valid administrative rules, it must be within the scope or authority of the law. Because if an administrative body or agency would be acting beyond the scope of the law, how do we call it? That's ultra vires, no? In excess of the authority granted to it by law. I'll give you an example. Way back in 2009, I think, or 2007, the Commission on Higher Education issued a regulation, said Memorandum Order number something, mandating that all review centers must register with the Commission on Higher Education, pay registration fees, and be subject to the regulation of the Commission on Higher Education. Eh di siyempre, yung mga review centers nagulat. Teka muna, ano ba ang authority ng CHED para i-regulate kami? Eh yun nga mga colleges, universities, nahirapan sila mag-regulate. Pati ba naman review center? Okay. So here comes isa dun sa mga kaibigan natin ay presidente ng isang review center sa Metro Manila. May organisasyon sila, ang tawag RECAP, Review Centers Association of the Philippines. So they filed a petition before the Supreme Court questioning the constitutionality of the actions of CHED. And CHED, and the Supreme Court issued a resolution. The case is RECAP versus Ermita, April 2007 or 2009. I forgot the exact date, no? Nailagay dito. Ang sabi ng Korte Suprema, ano ba ang basis ng existence at power ng CHED? It's Republic Act 7722. By a simple reading of the law, Republic Act 7722 would reveal that CHED is not granted power by Congress to regulate review centers. That's the simplest rendition of the decision. Ang i-regulate mo lang ay colleges, universities. You cannot regulate because it is not within the powers granted to you by law to regulate review centers, then you cannot do it. That would be ultra vires. Diba? Okay, reasonableness. So it must be reasonable, of course. Laws must be reasonable. Yun, sabi ni Thomas Aquinas, no? Saint Thomas Aquinas, that a law is an ordinance of reason promulgated for the common good by the one in charge of the society. At dito siguro kinuha ni Sanchez Roman yung kanyang definition of law. That is a rule of conduct, just and obligatory. At ito po ay implemented for common observance and obedience. Okay, nasabi ni Sanchez Roman. Sino ba yung Sanchez Roman? ano ba ito ni Mayor Sanchez? Sanchez Roman ay dati hong justice ng Spanish Supreme Court. Na kung babasahin ninyo ating mga civil law books, lalo na itong sinulat ni Senator Tolentino, di ba? Classical books na yung Tolentino civil law books na yan. Laging binabanggit si Sanchez Roman. Okay? So yun, justice ng Supreme Court. And then promulgated in accordance with prescribed procedures. Okay. Then of course, quasi-adjudicatory or quasi-judicial or adjudicatory power. Okay? These are not courts. Administrative agencies are not courts. But they have the power to adjudicate cases brought before them that are within the powers granted to them by law. So it is the power of the administrative agency to determine questions of fact to which the legislative policy is to apply in accordance with the standards laid down by the law itself. So based on incidental to the and incidental yung grammar nito. So the regulation, but is often expressly conferred by the legislature to specific provision in the charter of the agency. Like for example, yung Energy Regulatory Board, diba? So it cannot act beyond the scope of the power granted by law. So kaya sabi niya, ang Meralco ay magmulta. Bakit? Kasi nga naman, inestimate lang yung charges during the quarantine. Hala, biglang nag-skyrocket. At dribble lang tayo ng Meralco, pinabayaran din. Kaya lang, ang ginawa lang, inunti-unti, hindi naman sila nag-reconsider eh. Ang ginawang installment. So, chinap-chop, yung bill na, let's say, 26,000, chinap-chop into several installment. So, kita pa rin sila. Hindi sila nag-reconsider nung kanilang charges, na in fact, yun daw ay estimate lang. Oh. Anyway, ganyan talaga buhay. So what are the requisites for the valid exercise of adjudicatory power? Number one, there must be jurisdiction. And we all know that jurisdiction is conferred by law. So what's the jurisdiction of a specific administrative body? Then look at the law creating it. Okay? And then due process. Of course, the requirement for notice and hearing. And then, ano naman ang administrative due process? Due process is a constitutional right. Remember that. So in the case of UP Board of Regents versus Court of Appeals, ito yung kaso ng isang nagpi-PhD sa UP Diliman, PhD in anthropology, kumopya siya ng kumopya, hindi niya sinite yung source, nakagraduate siya, and then the UP Board of Regents decided to strip her of her PhD. So wala na yung PhD niya. Ano na? HND. Hindi na doktor. So due process, sabi ng Korte Suprema, does not always entail notice and hearing prior to the deprivation of a right. Okay? Hearing may occur after deprivation, as in emergency cases in which there must be a chance to seek reconsideration. So kasi tinanggalan siya ng degree, ang sabi naman ng Korte Suprema, in the exercise of the academic freedom of an institution of higher learning. Because according to Article 14, Section 5, Paragraph 2, academic freedom shall be enjoyed by all institutions of higher learning. And academic freedom includes the freedom of the school to determine on academic grounds who may be admitted to study. Kaya nga, may mga entrance examination. And who will be allowed to graduate. Diba? Ayan. And then, of course, the law in prescribing a notice of appeal to a higher level contemplates that the reviewing officer is a person different from the one who issued the appeal decision. Diba? Nag-render ng decision ng LTFRB, doon ka rin mag-aapila sa kanya, ay meaningless daw yan. Sabi ng Korte Suprema, Rivera versus Civil Service Commission. That's why, Civil Service Commission as an administrative agency created by the Constitution itself, asan ang appeal natin dyan? Of course, you do not appeal to the CSC itself. You go to the Court of Appeals using Rule 43. So from this administrative agency, Court of Appeals tayo. Okay? Now, puntahan natin yung trial. Kasi sabi nila, pagka may due process, notice and hearing, is there a need to have a trial? Adversarial trial is discretionary in the case of administrative agencies. Parties cannot demand trial as a matter of right, according to Vinta Maritime versus NLRC. But NLRC is an administrative agency performing quasi-judicial and quasi-legislative function. So, trial type hearing is not a mandatory requirement. The right of a party to confront, cross-examine opposing witness is a fundamental right which is part of due process. If without his fault this right is violated, is entitled to have the direct examination stricken of the record. Ito kung nagkaroon ng trial. But as a general rule, trial type hearing is not required for the proceedings in administrative agencies. So take a look at this case of Perez and Doria versus PT&T. While a formal hearing or conference is ideal, it is not an absolute mandatory or exclusive avenue to due process. The court said to be heard does not mean verbal argumentation alone. Inasmuch as one may be heard just as effectively through written explanation, submission, or pleadings. Remember that even in court, we are not so much inclined to give oral statements. Ang mga lawyers, ang statement lang, respectfully appearing, Your Honor, for the defendant. Kaya maya, motion to reset Your Honor or for continuance. Why? Hindi pala siya handa. A formal trial type hearing is not even essential to due process. Remember that. It is enough that the parties are given a fair and reasonable opportunity to explain the respective sides of the controversy and to present supporting evidence on which a fair decision can be based. That is why, kung alam ko kayo ay aware sa mga proceedings sa NLRC, wala naman tayong hearing dyan, di ba? Ang hearing dyan, palitan kayo ng dokumento. After SENA has been conducted, may mandatory conciliation ito sa SENA. After that, in-refer kay arbiter, si arbiter mag-conduct naman ng mandatory conciliation because that is required under Article 234 of the Labor Code at yun ang basihan ng SENA and the Republic Act 10396, di ba? Pag hindi nagkasundo, sige, you are given a period of 7 to 10 days, normally 10 days, within which to file your position paper. So, hindi natin kailangan ng hearing dito. Now, due process is violated if there is failure to sufficiently explain the reason for the decision rendered. That's why kahit hindi kayo nag-hearing, nag-render ng decision si arbiter, ipapaliwanag niya. At requirement ito, even in the rules of court, ipapaliwanag ng taong nag-decide ano ang legal, factual, and lawful basis ng kanyang decision. If it is not supported by substantial evidence, therefore, there is a violation of due process. And imputation of a violation and imposition of a fine despite absence of due notice and hearing. So, maaaring i-assail ito ng Meralco, bakit kami pinagmumulta ng ERC, Energy Regulatory Commission, wala namang hearing. Ewan ko kung may hearing ba yan o wala. Now, right against self-incrimination, na pinag-uusapan natin kanina, no? The right against self-incrimination is not self-executing or automatically operational. It must be claimed. If not claimed or on behalf of the witness, the protection does not come into play. So kung gusto mong i-invoke yan, then invoke it. However, if he voluntarily takes the witness stand, this can be cross-examined at hindi ito violation ng kanyang right against self-incrimination. Kasi lagi natin tatandaan, pag nambato ka, expect na babatuhin ka rin. When you file a suit, expect a counter-suit. Diba? Kahit naman sa Bible, di ba? Pag binato ka ng bato, batuhin mo ng tinapay, pero ilagay mo daw dun sa malaking garapon. Hindi, biro lang yan. Okay. Kailan hindi required ang hearing? Ayan, no? Hearing. Urgent reasons. Okay? Kailangan na magdesisyon O mag-hearing ka ba? Kahit ang korte, gumagawa yan, di ba? Yung mga temporary restraining order, minsan wala nang hearing yan Pero within 72 hours lang. Discretion is exercised by an officer vested upon it with undisputed facts. So, di na kailangan kasi nakita niya If it involves the exercise of discretion and when there is no grave abuse of discretion. Okay? and when rules to govern future conduct of persons or enterprises unless law provides otherwise. So hindi na kailangan ang hearing sa mga instances na ito and in the valid exercise of police power. Like for example, when the Secretary of Labor assumes jurisdiction under Article 278 paragraph G, hindi naman siya nag-hearing kung mag-assume siya ng jurisdiction o hindi. Because the law says, when in his opinion, sino ba ang magdidikta sa Secretary of Labor kung ano ang opinion niya? Opinion niya yun Di ba? Opinion, pasok ka. Conclusion, hindi ka makapasok. Sarado Okay. So, administrative appeal, syempre, lawyers never lose their appeal. Kaya gusto nyo maging ma-appeal, maging abogado kayo. At grabe naman talaga ang appeal ng mga lawyers. Okay. Marami daw mga lawyers ang maraming Anyway, I have no personal knowledge. So it bears stressing that an appeal is not a right. Pinag-usapan natin kanina, or even kagabi, appeal is not a matter of constitutional right. It is a mere statutory privilege. So in the absence of a law granting the right to appeal, you cannot appeal. So, dumating yung kliyente, attorney, talo tayo. So, ang tanong dyan, ano ang susunod natin gagawin? Di a-appeal tayo. Sige, mag-appeal tayo. Ang tanong ni attorney doon sa kliyente, may pera ka ba? Kailangan nun ng pera? Oo naman. Paano ka magiging ma-appeal kung di ka gagastos? May gastos ang appeal. Sa labor cases, yung pagpa-file, walang gastos. Di ba? Walang docket fee, walang filing fee ang labor cases. Pero pag umapila ka, under the rules of the NLRC based on the labor code, then you have to pay appeal fee. Di ka magiging ma-appeal kung di ka gagastos. Remember that. Now, puntahan natin yung administrative res judicata. In administrative proceedings, they are non-litigious, summary in nature. As a general rule, res judicata does not apply. Yan ang sabi ng Korte Suprema in 1989. However, there are certain instances na kailangan din nating i-apply yung forum shopping rules, litis pendentia, and res judicata. Okay? Kailan ito? Decisions and orders of administrative bodies rendered pursuant to their quasi-judicial authority have upon their finality the force and effect of a final judgment. So pag final judgment, mag-a-apply na yung res judicata as an exception to the general rule, which forbids the reopening of matters once judicially determined by competent authorities. Okay? Now, res judicata, ibig sabihin, a matter judged. So napag-desisyon It is a principle that a cause of action may not be re-litigated once it has been judged on the merits. Okay? Kaya pag nangyari, nakalimutan na. Just move on. But you cannot move on if you will not close the books. Di ba? Kaya kailangan may closure para makamove on. Ayan. At pagka nag-closure na, huwag nang babalik-balikan. Kasi hindi mo makakalimutan pag binabalik-balikan. So finality is the term which refers to when a court renders final judgment on the merits. That's according to the website of Cornell University Law School. Now, requisites of res judicata. Of course, you are very much aware of that in your rules of court, in your remedial law. Diba? So there's a competent court, a court of competent jurisdiction, which issued a final judgment or order based on the merits, and the identities of the party and subject matter and cause of action are the same. So, hindi ka na pwede pang mag-file ng panibagong kaso to reopen it because you are barred by res adjudicata or res judicata. Now, meron namang mga fact-finding functions ang administrative agency. The power to declare the existence of facts to which call into operation the statute's provision. Such functions are merely incidental to the exercise of power granted by law to clear navigable stream of unauthorized obstruction. Kaya minsan ang presidente nag-create tulad nung unang taon ni Pinoy, pagkaupo niya, nag-create kaagad siya ng fact-finding body para mag-imbestiga kung ano yung mga ginawa o ng mga nakaraang pangulo. Ayan. And then they cannot be conferred upon executive officials provided the party affected is given opportunity to be heard. and considering the well-established rule that findings of fact and executive decisions and matters within their jurisdiction are entitled to respect from the courts in the absence of fraud, collusion, or grave abuse of discretion. So in other words, kung sa fact-finding functions ng administrative body, natagpuan nila talagang may liability, at within their function, the court would give due respect to that. That's why, eto, balikan ulit natin yung labor cases. Nanalo ka sa arbiter, may illegal dismissal kunyari. Nanalo ka sa NLRC dahil nag-apila ang employer. Nanalo ka pa rin doon sa Court of Appeals. Malabo ka nang matalo sa Supreme Court niyan eh. Unless malakas. Hindi yung abogado, kundi yung ebidensya ng kalaban. Kasi, tandaan niyo ito, that findings of administrative agencies in the absence of fraud, collusion, or grave abuse of discretion. That's why, from the NLRC, you go to the Court of Appeals, you allege grave abuse of discretion. Kasi ang gagamitin natin, Rule 65, Special Civil Action and Certiorari. Diba? So, irerespeto ng korte yan. Kaya kung sa tingin nyo, panalo na kayo in 3 levels, ay mahirap-hirapan tayong i-reverse yan pagdating sa Korte Suprema. Now, except yung case ng FASAP versus Philippine Airlines, kasi panalo na sa Korte Suprema yon, simply because nagbago ang komposisyon ng Korte Suprema, abay na-reverse, natalo uli yung FASAP, nanalo uli ang Philippine Airlines. Despite the fact na final na yata yung kaso. But anyway, maraming milagro, miracles do happen. Now, administrative agencies have investigative powers. In the case of Doria versus PTNT, administrative agencies' power to conduct investigations and hearings and make findings and recommendations thereon is inherent in their functions as administrative agencies. So again, findings of facts by administrative bodies which observe procedural safeguards, meaning there is no deprivation of the parties' right to due process because there was notice and hearing, and they consider the evidence presented, are accorded greatest respect by the court. So kaya kung nanalo ka na dyan, mahirap-hirapan ka ng matalo pa sa Supreme Court, Unless, okay. Now, administrative agencies have licensing functions, di ba? Like, itong Department of Trade and Industry, pagka gusto mong magtayo ng negosyo, pupunta ka dyan, kung korporasyon ka naman, hihingi ka ng permiso sa Securities and Exchange Commission. Securities and Exchange Commission. So yan ang licensing function under Section 17 of the 1987 Administrative Code. So may licensing procedure. When a grant, renewal, denial, cancellation of a license, because there are businesses that need license before you can operate. So except in cases of willful violation of pertinent laws, rules, and regulation, or when public security, health, or safety requires otherwise, no license may be withdrawn, suspended, revoked, or annulled without notice and hearing. Diba? So kaya nga, yung franchise na binibigay doon sa ABS-CBN, nag-hearing pa naman. Diba? Ayan. So kaya lang, talagang may violation daw. So kaya pinalabas nila lahat ng mga violations. Ay di, ayan na. Pero, may problema ba sa press freedom? Well, para sa akin, wala naman siguro. Dahil, ang problema lang natin, wala nang trabaho yung mga tao. Kasi kung wala nang trabaho, tatanggalan po ng trabaho, parang hindi naman tama. Pero kung press freedom itself, ang dami pa namang mga agencies, di ba? At doon naman sa sinasabi nilang 11,000, wala naman kayong 11,000 talaga yan na mawawala ng trabaho. Karamihan naman dyan mga contractual eh. Kasi may mga kaso rin tayong hawak dyan eh. Hindi naman sila daw nagre-regular eh. Okay, license. Pinakamasayang license, yung marriage license. Ay ko dun sa wife ko eh, nasaan ba yung ating marriage license? Sabi niya, bakit? May marriage contract. Titignan ko sana kung may expiration date. Kung may expiration date, anong gagawin mo? Ipaparenew natin. Okay. So, in licensing function, under Section 2, Paragraph 10, ano ba ang license? Includes the whole or any part of any agency, permit, certificate, passport, clearance, etc. or regulation of the exercise or right or privilege. And then in Section 2, Paragraph 11, licensing includes agency process involving the grant, renewal, denial, revocation, suspension, annulment, withdrawal. So yan. Kaya ang Biblia ng ating mga administrative agencies in general ay yung administrative code. Diba? Now, what about the licensing function? Under Section 18, where the license has made timely and sufficient application, licensee, for the renewal of a license with reference to any activity or continuing nature, the existing license shall not expire until the application have been finally determined by the agency. So, applicable kaya ito dun sa kaso ng ABS-CBN? I do not know. Okay. Now, administrative agencies may also fix fixing of rates, wage prices. So under the administrative code, rate means any charge to the public for a service open to all and upon the same terms, including individual or joint rates, tolls, classification or schedules thereof, as well as communication, mileage, kilometerage, and other special rates which shall be imposed by law of regulation to be observed and followed by any person. So yun ang tinatawag nating rate. Okay? Now, in the case of KMU, Nilusang Mayo Uno. Pero ang unang-unang member daw ng KMU ay yung dating presidenteng Pinoy, no? Si Benigno Simeon Aquino. Si Pinoy, siya ang unang member ng KMU. Hindi Nilusang Mayo Uno, kundi kapisanan ng mga makikintab ang ulo. Ay, sorry ho. Pero dahil daw sa modern technology, hindi na yung KMU, NPA na. Nakapilo ka ako. May hilig sa kotse si Pinoy. BMW daw yan. Ay, BMW, buhok mo, wig. Okay. So, legislature has delegated to the Public Service Commission the power of fixing the rates of public services. But it has not authorized the Public Service Commission to delegate that power to a common carrier or other public service. So, ang nag-fix kasi ng rate ay Civil Service o Public Service Commission. That was in 1994, no? Ngayon, sino ba ang nag-fix ng pamasahe, for example, sa mga jeepney at mga bus? Diba? LTFRB. O hindi pwedeng i-delegate ng LTFRB yan sa another body kasi delegated na sa kanya yan ng Kongreso yung function to fix the rates of fare. Okay. Now, what about the doctrine of primary jurisdiction? In that case of Euromed, it holds that if a case is such that its determination requires the expertise, specialized training, and knowledge of an administrative body, relief must first be obtained in the administrative proceeding before resort to the courts is had, even if the matter may be well within the proper jurisdiction of the court. Okay? Kasi may power yung administrative agency. So before resorting to the court, pumunta ka muna dun sa administrative agency. That's the doctrine of primary jurisdiction. It applies where a claim is originally cognizable in the court and comes into play whenever enforcement of the claim requires the resolution of issues which under a regulatory scheme have been placed within the special competence of an administrative agency. Kasi magiging inutil or useless yung administrative agency kung ang korte immediately will take cognizance of a case despite the fact that it belongs to the jurisdiction of the administrative body. Diba? So ano pa ang silbi niya kung di ka dadaan sa kanya? Now, in such a case, the court in which the claim is sought to be enforced may suspend the judicial process. Diba? So in deference to the power of the administrative body, idiniretso sa korte, the court may suspend the proceedings and refer it to the administrative body. So parang sa criminal cases, di ba? Basically, korte ang may jurisdiction. Kaya lang, ang korte, para baka naman magkasundo kayo, so bago tayo mag-pre-trial, di i-refer muna natin sa PMC, Philippine Mediation Center. Baka naman magkasundo kayo doon, so may advantages ito. Dahil mababawasan ng trabaho ang korte. Now, nasa jurisdiction ng isang administrative body, dinala sa korte, ang gagawin ng korte, i-refer muna natin doon. Baka magkasundo kayo, edi wala ng trabaho ang korte or mababawasan ng trabaho ng korte. That's the advantage of adhering to the doctrine of primary jurisdiction. Okay? What are the requisites dito sa doctrine of primary jurisdiction? Number one, the administrative body and the regular courts have concurrent and original jurisdiction. So, maaaring pareho sila may jurisdiction dyan sa issue na yan. And question to be resolved requires expertise of administrative agency. Diba? Kaya nga minsan, ang korte nag-a-appoint ng mga commissioners para ma-determine muna natin na hindi naman nangungumission yung mga yan. Legislative intent on the matter is to have uniformity in rulings. Okay? So kung ever since the world began, dumadaan ka muna dito sa administrative body na ito bago ka pumunta sa korte, why would the court allow you to bypass the administrative body's jurisdiction and immediately go to the court? And then, of course, administrative agency is performing a quasi-judicial or adjudicatory function, not rulemaking or quasi-legislative function, but rather quasi-judicial function, as in the case of the National Telecommunications Commission. Okay. Now, what about hindi mag-a-apply yung doctrine of primary jurisdiction? There are instances. Number one, if the agency has exclusive jurisdiction. Siya may jurisdiction dyan. And then, when the issue is not within the competence of the administrative body to act on, wala kang jurisdiction, ibigay mo sa korte. When the issue involved is clearly a factual question and does not require specialized skills and knowledge for the resolution to justify the exercise of primary jurisdiction. And the case is not dismissed, but merely suspended until after the matters within the competence of the administrative agency are threshed out and determined. Bidad versus RTC of Bacolod ito, no? Kasi ang involved dito yung mga teachers na tinanggal sa trabaho kasi nag-strike sila. Anong strike? Iniwanan nila yung trabaho nila sa Bacolod City. So since they are government employees, dahil mga public school teachers, so tinanggal sila ng kanilang bossing sa DepEd. So DepEd is an administrative agency. Now, nag-file sila ng kaso sa RTC para pigilan, mag-issue ng TRO at pigilan yung kanilang dismissal from their position as public school teachers kasi nga raw may mga other issues to be resolved and they have the right to do that, to do what they have done. So, ang ginawa ng korte, sinuspend muna at inirefer doon sa DepEd kung ano ang tamang paraan ng pag-resolve nito. Okay? So, nag-apply, ngayon, in-apply itong, kasi kung tawag dito, they have substantive right daw, but anyway, it is within the competence of them to determine first kung talaga bang may recourse itong mga teachers despite the fact na ang ginawa nila ay isang strike. Okay. And then the doctrine of exhaustion of administrative remedies. According to that case of Pascual versus Provincial Board of Nueva Ecija, 1959 po yan, before you and I were born, ano? When the law has delineated the procedure by which administrative appeal or remedy could be effected, the same should be followed before recourse to judicial action can be initiated. So, kung meron talaga tayong procedure before going to the court, then pumunta ka muna dun sa administrative body para hindi ma-violate yung doctrine of exhaustion of administrative remedies. So in other words, you resort to all means and the last resort is the court. Okay? Although sarado yata ang mga resorts ngayon. So what are the requisites in the doctrine of exhaustion of administrative remedies? Number one, the administrative agency is performing a quasi-judicial function. Okay? And number two, judicial review is available. So from the decision of the administrative agency, pwede kang umapila sa korte. And the court act in its appellate jurisdiction, not in its original jurisdiction. So from the decision of the administrative agency, you can appeal directly to the court. Okay? Now, what are the reasons for the exhaustion of administrative remedies? There must be a reason, legal reason. The law prescribes a procedure. O bakit nandyan si Ping? Kasi sabi niya, just give me a reason. So, kung ayaw nyo kay Pink, edi iyan nasa baba. Si Lady Gaga, a million reasons. But just one good one to stay. So what is the legal reason behind the exhaustion of administrative remedies doctrine? Number one, the law prescribes a procedure. And for example, from a government agency to the Civil Service Commission, pag dumiretso ka sa korte, i-dismiss ito. Not on jurisdictional grounds, but rather for non-exhaustion of administrative remedies. What is the practical reason? To give the agency a chance to correct its own errors. Kung naniniwala siya na may mali siya, may mga tao kasi hindi naniniwala na nagkakamali siya. And prevent unnecessary and premature resort to the court. Remember, premature resort to the court may be a ground for dismissal. Di ba? Kasi lahat naman ng premature ay pangit. Premature termination of employment contract ng OFW, pre-termination. Okay? Premature resort to the court. O, premature delivery. Ano pa pang premature ang alam yung pangit? Anyway, and number 3, by reasons of comity, expediency, courtesy, convenience. Diba? Ang korte, alam niya na merong administrative agency na dapat humawak muna nito at magresolba, ba't ka makikialam? Diba? So, reason of comity, courtesy. Igalang mo naman yung jurisdiction ng isang administrative agency. Now, what are the effects of failure to exhaust administrative remedies? So, bakit nandiyan yan? Kasi Republic versus Sandigang Bayan ang kaso. Number 1, it does not affect the jurisdiction of the court. Of course, because jurisdiction is conferred by law. Diba? Kaya lang, madi-dismiss siya for non-exhaustion of administrative remedies, not on jurisdictional grounds. Now, the effect is non-compliance is that it will deprive complainant of the cause of action, which is a ground for motion to dismiss. Okay? So, nakita mo na tulad nito, sa mga away ng mga magkakapitbahay, mga chismosang kapitbahay, di ba? Under the katarungan pambarangay sa ilalim ng local government code, criminal man yan, basta case man yan, criminal case man, below 1 year ang imprisonment, no? Sabi dun sa jurisdiction, daan muna kayo dun sa barangay conciliation. Okay. So ngayon, hindi duman sa barangay conciliation, idiniretso kay piskal. So anong gagawin ni piskal? Does it deprive the fiscal of jurisdiction? Hindi naman eh. Kaya lang, it is a ground for dismissal. Okay? Now, if not invoked by the proper time, the ground is deemed waived. Kaya lang minsan, alam nyo, sa practice, huwag naman magagalit yung mga kaibigan natin, mga piskal. Si piskal na ang naghahanap, hindi pa kayo duman sa barangay, daan muna kayo sa barangay. Di ba? Yan dapat, ang nag-i-invoke yan, yung kalaban, hindi si piskal. Anyway, tama naman siya kasi nasa batas naman talaga yan. Di ba? So, go through proper procedure. Okay. Now, we also have the doctrine of finality of administrative action. Finality, rarity daw yan. Pagka kayo ay negosyante at abogado na, ang inyong itayo ay sovereignty. No? Maganda yan. No resort to the courts will be allowed unless the administrative action has been completed and there is nothing left to be done in the administrative structure. In other words, may desisyon na. So, kapag ka nag-desisyon na yung administrative agency, that's the time you go to the court. Okay. And then, of course, the doctrine of finality of administrative action is a broader doctrine which encompasses the doctrine of exhaustion of administrative remedies. Okay? And it is a prerequisite for judicial review. Kasi kung hindi pa final yung decision ng administrative body, premature pa yung pagpunta natin sa korte. Okay? And again, yun na po ang ating mga dapat tandaan sa administrative law. No? And always remember that Article 11, Section 1 of the Constitution, ano sabi? Public office is a public trust. You are there because the government trusts you, yung appointing authority, and they are there because the people trust them. So in the absence of trust, ay mapapahamak ko tayong lahat. Kaya importante yung trust